So I just got to see Dream Scenario, the brand new Nicolas Cage movie from A24, and I absolutely loved it. I thought this was one of the funniest movies I have seen all year, and it was just a rockin' ride, man. So let me get into it. Dream Scenario is a new movie from A24. It stars Nicolas Cage, and it's about this man who just randomly starts appearing in other people's dreams. People just keep dreaming about him, and they're seeing him every single time they go to sleep. And Nick Cage is like the most boring man ever. He plays this guy who's essentially, think Walter White before he becomes Heisenberg. Just this kind of loser who feels like he's worth more, who feels like he's smarter and more intelligent and should be in a more pristine and prestigious position in life, but he's just not. He's honestly, like, looked down on. People make fun of him. He's really shy and awkward, and he's, terrified of stuff. And he's got this innocence to him, but also this arrogance that makes him extremely unlikable for some reason. He's really not a likable character. He's got a family that doesn't even like him. So, like, once he actually starts appearing in everybody's dreams, he actually gets this sense of popularity that makes him the center of a lot of people's attention, and the film sort of deals with this immediate acceptance of fame, and then it kind of starts going into some other stuff, related to, like, cancel culture, and what happens when that fame kind of becomes too much. And the film tackles a lot of different ideas, a lot of interesting ideas, some a little too on the nose at times, but it definitely goes into some stuff that I just thought was handled brilliantly, and overall, just hilariously. That's the one thing I gotta say about this film. It is so funny. This might be the hardest I've laughed at a movie in a very, very long time. Like, there are so many comedies this year that just did not work for me whatsoever. This movie had me laughing almost its entire runtime through its ironic type humor and dialogue and just its overall meta commentary on the actual world we live in. Nick Cage is so great in this film. Like, his performance as a whole is amazing. He's just so over the top and extreme with a lot of stuff. He makes you really hate his character, which I think was like the point of the whole movie, but his comedic timing on so many things is so funny, specifically with some stuff that happens later in the third act that just had me rolling in my fucking chair laughing. It's so good. He carries this movie. This is a Nick Cage movie through and through, and it honestly might be my favorite performance I've ever seen of him. This movie kind of reminded me of what I thought Beau is Afraid was going to be when I first saw that trailer. That promise of that movie being this weird, over-the-top thing that kind of felt like a dream sequence. That's sort of what this movie is, in a way. At least what I expected it to be, and it's a lot better than Beau is Afraid. This movie is really solid, it's fast-paced, and it deals with that dream scenario and the sci-fi concept in a way that's not, it doesn't center it, and it handles what's happening outside of the sci-fi concept more than what's going on inside of it, which is what I liked. I did not go into this movie wanting to see this deep dive into why are these people all dreaming about him, what does it all mean. I kind of wanted the comedic, sort of meta stuff that we ended up getting, the stuff that was more interesting to me from a performance standpoint, and just from an overall, like, trying to have a good time watching a movie standpoint. And that allowed this movie to avoid being watered down by an unnecessary plot device or a plot trigger throughout, and it just allowed it to focus on the characters and the stupidness of this story, because it is really dumb. But watching Nick Cage's character go through some of the scenarios he goes through, specifically one that involves this assistant at this, like, talent agency that he's working at, was so brilliant and so awkward, and just everything was made so well, and the script here is brilliant. I love the script. The third act of this movie also has a sort of cameo that I won't spoil from an actor, not a very prominent actor, but an actor from something, a project that I love personally, and when this person showed up, I was so happy, and I could not stop laughing. I thought it was one of the best things I've seen this year. And the third act of this movie really does deliver, both on just ramping up the stakes and the overall themes of the story to a point where it overall makes sense, but also getting to a really quiet and emotional spot where the overall, like, the emotional aspect of the story, the stuff that was serious and was trying to tell a serious character story, actually worked surprisingly well with these goofy characters to a point where it shouldn't have worked. I was sitting there like, wow, I kind of felt that. I felt what they wanted me to feel, this sort of sadness and grieving loss of the scene. Some more stuff about the movie. The music. This movie has a great score. Really underrated score. I hadn't heard anything about it in any of the other reviews, but I really appreciated the score. Cinematography-wise, it also looks great. In a lot of the dream scenarios where there's some over-the-top, overtly graphic stuff in a lot of different ways, not just in one aspect if you hear the word graphic, but in a lot of different ways, things that would be considered graphic, they put a lot of detail into some of the effects and in some of the looks that happen in these dream sequences. They're really small. They're literally very, very small, standalone scenes that are randomly spread throughout the movie, and they could have really done lazy stuff. They could have panned the camera away and sold some of the things with sound design, but they really went, like, all in on some effects that you would just not be, expecting in a movie like this, which I appreciate. appreciated. It gave so much character to some of those sequences, and it gave so much of a vibe to the actual dream scenes. And overall, this movie kind of feels like a dream, because I can't believe this movie somehow got made in Hollywood. I don't understand how it got made and distributed. Yet again, it's A24. Now, I don't know if A24 produced this or just distributed it, but this is a movie that would only exist in a world where A24 exists, because there's no way a major studio is taking a shot on a script like this. It's just so crazy and so honest about our modern society, and I really love that about it. And overall, I love this movie. So I'm going to give Dream Scenario another 5 out of 5. I keep handing out 5 out of 5s this year, and this is just another one. It deserves it. So that's the video. Hope you guys like it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Make sure to click the video on your screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next one.